Our next speaker is probably one of the most best technical marketing guru there is in the world, and his expertise is how to go viral marketing. And he's really perfected that. All of us in our mastermind always ask him a question, and there's something called Wicked Smart in our mastermind, and he almost wins it every single time because he's just wickedly smart. So please welcome the most wickedly smart marketer in the world, Mr. Scott Boulch. Come on in, Scott. He never wears a suit. In fact, he bought a suit at Mega Partnering only. You should get a JT Fox tie, which would be great for the mastermind.
I'll bet you a JT Fox tie.
Pardon me?
I've got a bet for you.
You got a bet? What's the bet?
Well, you got me in a suit. You'll see in a second.
Okay.
But I don't wear suits. I'm an imposter. This is absolutely Mega Partnering suit, and the next time I wear it will be probably next Mega Partnering. Yeah. So
which, by the way,
Dallas,
speaking of which, we're going to make that announcement in about an hour and a half.
All right.
We're going to make that announcement. And by the way, you are absolutely invited to any of the Mega Partnering. I appreciate you. These people are extremely busy, and they came here to support me and support you. And that is one cool subject. In fact, he talked briefly about that in our mastermind. I took every note, made it like it was my own, and now I'm screwed because now the true architect of this amazing thing. This stuff, it'll make you a lot of money. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Boulch.
Thanks, everybody. And like a lot of people you've seen, they're not professional speakers, and I'm the least professional and least well-known person you'll ever see. And since Stedman's probably coming up after me, I hope he doesn't get too upset. I'm the warm-up show, apparently. And I want to talk to you about viral branding today. But sitting in the room for 2 days, there were so many amazing coincidences that I had to change the presentation on the fly, and that's the advantage of going on the last day. See if I can get this going here. We already have something in common. Now, that's the real me up there. That's what I look like on a daily basis. That's why I don't wear suits. I do own a tuxedo, because in Dallas, where I live here, you need a tuxedo. There's so much charity work going on, or it's jeans. And everything's accepted. You'll see in a minute why I don't wear suits anymore. But we all have something in common already. Neither one of us knows what I'm about to say. And I'm not joking. If I didn't have slides, I'd be a complete mess. It'd be all over the place. So I'm going to talk to you about viral branding and viral marketing. And the how I got to viral branding and marketing online is a more fun story than the techie side of how you make money with viral marketing online. So I wanted to give you both. And I got to rush through this. So I have a very short window of time, and I want to give you something of value, actually of value, to ethically bribe you to like the presentation. But this is what I want to start with. Predetermined outcomes. You know how sometimes you just know how the movie's going to end before it even begins? And it's when your life's experience comes together in one of those moments where you're like, I've seen this before, I know what's about to happen. So let me tell you a story. A few years ago, it's quite a few years ago, I'm in a place here in Dallas called the Fox and Hound. It's a little pub. People go there to play pool and drink beer. And there's a table full of nurses sitting there. And I walk in with my friend Chris, and he and I are best buddies. He drove that night, and that's important to the story. And we walk up to the bar, and we see this, what I call meathead. Now, this is not his picture, and ladies, you probably know who that is right away. But that's kind of what this guy looked like. That's the guy from 300, by the way, Gerard. He was ripped. He was tall. He was, I can't really say this, but beautiful for a man, right? And he was just staring like he's doing the, what time is it, over at the table full of nurses, and they wouldn't give him the time of day. They would not look at the guy. And he's doing everything he can to be noticed except go up and talk to him. So it's one of those moments in life when you just know. And I made a bet with Meathead. I walked up to him and I said, cute nurses, huh? We didn't know at the time they were nurses. He says, yeah, why? And I go, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a bet. I bet you the next round of beers that when I walk up to their table, they will ooh and ah and ask me to sit with them. He's looking at me. Yeah, I'll take the bet. My friend Chris is cracking up because he knows what's coming. I knew something he didn't, and I had something he didn't have. What could that possibly be? We just met. I don't know anything about him, and he doesn't know about me. I found the manager, told him what I was about to do, and then I went to the car. I walked back in, and Meathead over there, his face just was like, oh no. because in my hand I held the one thing he was lacking. Any guesses? Influence is the correct answer, but I walked up to the table full of nurses and said, "Cameo wants to meet you." You'll find out a couple of times here that I really love those kind of Count of Monte Cristo stories. I ended up dating one of the nurses for 6 months, and he was just shaking his head like, "You son of a bitch." The manager was cracking up too. Who's read Outliers? I had the good fortune on the way to the last mastermind with JT in Austin. I drive back and forth in the car so I can consume content, and I listen to the book. And coincidentally, Steve Jobs had just passed away, and then yesterday, of course, we got to meet Steve Wozniak. And I started thinking about the arc of my life, and if you read the book, it's got a lot to do with how you were born, when you're born, what culture you're born into, and we are the luckiest to be born when we are, because making money is so easy now, and it didn't used to be. After this book, I looked back at the course of my life and what happened, and it all started in 1971 when I was 0 probably, right? My dad was a traveling salesman, used to come home and play motivational records, albums at the time. Charles Tremendous Jones, I heard mentioned. I hadn't heard his name in forever. He was old when I was a baby, and he got in my head, and so did Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. I didn't listen to those. They were just in my head because I was hanging out in Dad's office when he got back from the road, and Dad would play the records, and I wanted to be around my dad. So I had no choice from 1971 forward of who I was going to become. In 1981, I went geek. Sadly, I couldn't afford the Apple. A friend of mine sold me this. He called me one Saturday. I was on the way to get a VIC-20, and he said, "Hey, I'll sell you my Commodore 64. I'm going to go buy this new thing called a PC." So fortunately, I got the Commodore instead. I did eventually go Mac and ran some Mac dealerships for a while, so I have a connection there. In 1987, I graduated, started selling copiers. I was the guy pushing a copier in your office trying to sell you one. Not fun. But my first sale was to that guy down in the middle. I don't know if you can see him. That's Lloyd Tomer. Some of you in the room know who Lloyd is, and you might not want to admit why, but I met Art Williams a week or two out of college, and that changed my life. That changed the course of what I was going to become. And I did my stint in corporate America until 1994, and then I went AWOL. Joined a company called Rexall. Dirty little secret, it was an MLM company. Dirty little secret number 2, there's somebody very high up in this organization I found out 48 hours ago that's number 1 in an MLM and probably hasn't told anybody here. And one of the speakers that was just up here came up to me the other day and said, "I don't know, how do you know so-and-so?" I go, "They're friends of mine." He got sponsored by my friends into another MLM. It's a great place to start. So then I went through the roller coaster phase. You know what's wrong with an MLM? If you don't own it, you don't own it. And it ain't gonna last. They destroyed the company, and even though I got it up to a 6-figure income for about 6 years, they went through a buyout, a sellout, a public IPO, all kinds of stuff. Long story short, it crashed. So 2000, I'm dead broke. I started a new business in 2000, then 9/11 hits. Literally, it just went away that day. So I'm still broke. 2001, I decided to start flipping houses. And I got on the LeGrand bandwagon, went through his MOS, eventually spoke at some of his events because we would sell deeds, do subject to deals en masse. But I wasn't making any money. So I went through what I call the doubt and despair phase. In 2002, I'm still broke. 2002, I'm 2 weeks literally from being homeless. And I didn't have a picture. I was in a 600 square foot studio apartment. It reminded me of the Tony Robbins story. Speaking of MLM, by the way, that's how he got out of his studio apartment. 2 weeks from being homeless. 50 pounds overweight. My girlfriend dumps me. Wow, why? Go figure. I'm stressed out, no money, no job, no business, no income, no way to take her out, and she was an executive at EDS. By the way, she was a Kiwi, which is how I knew Christine was a Kiwi and not an Aussie, because I made that mistake once. So, 40 years of my life, by 2002, wasted. Nothing to show for it. No family, no kids, nothing. Or was it? What do you think? I had no choice since I was 8 years old who I was going to become. The only thing that can stop me is if I die in the middle. And I figured that out. It was the win or die trying phase. So 03, I started running every day. It was the one thing in my life I could control. And it didn't take any money or a gym membership. I got a phone call from my friend Scott, who's not here today, but he's also in our mastermind. And this was the phone call. Hey, I can get as many people to your website as you want in less than a week. How many times have you heard that before? But it was true. There was some black hat software, and I built a Realty Rescue website to help buy and sell houses just here in Dallas for my own buyers and sellers. And in 2003, I was #1 in Google for We Buy Houses. Pretty cool spot if you're in real estate, right? So I'm going along buying and selling houses, still not making any money. The only way I wasn't homeless is I would live in some of the houses where I took the deed until I could find an income. It was not fun, but then along comes Home Gain. They email me, and this is 2003. They sent me an email, and I blew it off. I stuck it in a folder. I didn't know what they were bothering me about, right? It was spam. 2004, I call them back, and they say, hey, we noticed you're #1 on Google for We Buy Houses. How much is the other person paying you for those leads? I sat there for a second, and I was like, why? How much would you be willing to pay for the 3,000 leads a month I throw away? 4 weeks later, they sent me a check for $28,000, and it grew way bigger, way faster after that. So, thanks. I finally got the hint, and I said, I think I'll do that again. And I'm a really bad landlord, so I sold all my property. Between 2004 and 6, I made between $30,000 and $50,000 a month as an affiliate marketer, and I got hooked on internet marketing. It was my passion. I finally found a home. So, the Count of Monte Cristo story. In 2006, I have a Jerry Maguire moment. I see how people in the market are stealing from other internet marketers by selling them crap courses that they know have disinformation in it. AdSense was the way to make money for easy money back then, and it changed in 2006. But nobody told anybody. They kept selling their $2,000 courses about how to get rich with this thing. And I just couldn't take that anymore. So I wrote this report, gave it away for free, and then I launched a piece of software that automated what I taught people to do for free and made $250,000 in a day, $350,000 in a week, $80,000 a month recurring, and a $2 million product from a free report that I gave away. Free is the key here. 2006, my ex-girlfriend calls me. Why do you think she would call me back? Hell no was the answer. So if you've never seen this movie, it's a must-watch for any entrepreneur, especially if you're going the long road like I did. It's not important what happens to you. He says here, what makes you a man is what you do when the storm comes, because it will come, always. So God's delays, not God's denials, right? 1987, I entered the workforce. It took me 18 years to find the one. If you were speaking in dating terms, right? Your soulmate, the perfect business for me. 2004, wow, 28 grand out of nowhere. I like that. And then 2006 was holy shit. Now, it took me 18 years to find the one in less than 18 months, if you do the math, to make over $1 million. But did I make it in 2006 or 2004 or even 1987? No. I started making that in 1971. And so I'm sitting watching the story like we all did a couple days ago and thinking, wow, that's interesting. Wait till you see what I'm about to show you. You were lied to last night at dinner. And I have one criticism of mega partnering this time around. It's my first. There was a quote that was re-quoted last night, and you were lied to. And many of you may have heard it, gone back to your room last night, and thought, God, I hope that's not true. And it was that if you're over 45 and you haven't made it yet, you probably won't. Who heard that last night? Well, I'm in Dallas, Texas, kids. You know what? Bullshit. With all due respect to the source of that quote, bullshit. And you know what? The money's better when there's a hard-fought war to get it. There's a quote by a mentor of mine that says, every public victory is preceded by a private struggle. And if it comes too easy, you'll lose it too quick, and it won't be permanent. So, that is a fun end. Now, I bought this domain. I hesitate to tell the story because it's R-rated at best, but it's about an old bull and a young bull sitting at the top of a hill looking at a bunch of cows in the valley, and the young bull says, let's go down and have one. The old bull says, no, son, we're going to walk down and have them all. And don't let anyone ever tell you you're too old or too young or too anything. You control it. It's the sum of your parts. You're not who you are now. Your accumulated experiences, everything that's ever happened to you can help you. So, guess what happens when I type in old bull, young bull into Google? Stephen Bradbury comes up. Isn't that perfect? I could not have planned that. I made this slide 15 minutes ago, and I went, oh, I can't leave that out. And I asked him for permission. Remember, the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. It doesn't matter until you win. A friend of mine knows Les Brown, and his famous quote is, it's not over until you win. So I know some of you run into trouble. It takes a long time. Let me be a cautionary tale. Even if it takes 20 years, still do it, it's worth it. It's a blast. Now, viral branding, I'll teach you everything you need to know in about 5 minutes because I got to push for time. If you only remember one thing I'm about to share about viral branding, remember this: one sale never equals one sale, and one lead never equals one lead. Let's go back to this. What was really going on here? Well, liking and social proof. Who has read, or who hasn't read, would be a better quote. I think our battery's dying here. Who's read Influence by Cialdini? Okay. Anybody who markets anything to anyone, this is a must-read. Cialdini will show you things to get your customer or prospect to do what you want them to do by influence. And principles of influence, there's 6. Reciprocation. I give you something, you give something back. Consistency. Hey, it happened this way before, it's going to happen again. Social proof. Hey, we all think it's good. Liking, and liking is it's similar and I like you, so there's 2 aspects to that. Authority, this guy knows what he's talking about, and scarcity. So, reciprocation is the #1 thing you need to learn if you're going to do viral branding. That's what got me that massive explosion. This is the free report I gave away. It's called The Death of AdSense. It's gruesome. And it's full of harsh language to the idiot gurus who were stealing people's money. I didn't really have a profit motive when I wrote it, but it turned into one. It's my programmer and business partner, and I called him up and I said, I'll tell you what, I want to give away a free report, then I want to pay people 50 cents every time they refer somebody to come download a free report. And he's like, I can code that, but where's the money? And I go, don't worry, I'll make it up in volume. So I gave away 35,000 in 3 weeks from zero. I had no list. 35,000 people. It went so viral, it was just insane. And yeah, I owed $12,500. And if you're doing the math, why $12,500? Well, lots of people referred it for free because what was inside it. It was telling the truth. And it was the anti-guru model, if you're wondering how that marketing term works. Every person that opted in, write this down, every person that opted in was instantly my affiliate. They didn't have a choice. When they got to the page to download the report, it says, send this to your friends and we'll pay you 50 cents every time they come download a free one. And people are like, God, that's pretty easy. You mean I have to sell something that's free and get paid for it? I had everyone jumped on the bandwagon. Now, this is a friend of mine, Joel Com. I met him back in 2005. He was making his living off selling AdSense education when I released the report. And he was like, dude, what did you do to me? And I said, I told the truth. You know it and I know it. This is his blog. Now, if you know Google AdSense, this block right here is Google AdSense. This is a report he wrote to combat my report called AdSense is Alive. And at the top here, it says the death of AdSense because somebody who was giving away my free report actually started advertising on Google to give it away, to make 50 cents, and it was in the #1 spot on his blog right next to his name. So I sent him this little screenshot, and he said, dude, you cannot ever show that to anybody, which I didn't for the first 3 or 4 years until AdSense was no longer an issue. Joel's a good guy, but that was a great moment. I kept giving these reports out and making more and more money. And I didn't know about Cialdini back then and influence and how that worked, but I was doing all of this except for scarcity. Then I launched a piece of software, click flipping, that automated what I taught them to do for free. That's the cool thing is they could go do exactly what I was doing as an affiliate marketer, give up AdSense and go make money. And to this day, you can go download those reports, and some of it's still valid. It's a couple years old now. And I taught them how to go make money for free. And I asked them at the end, what do you want? And they go, automation. Before I even asked them, I had programmers in India building a program for $6,000 that automated it. I launched it, and it went on to do $2 million. So let's do a live demonstration of how reciprocity works and reciprocation. We'll do 2 live viral demos if you're on board with me. Sound cool? Yeah. All right. I made another bet a few days ago with JT by text, and you're going to get to determine whether I win or lose. Is JT still in here? The Death of AdSense campaign worked so well, everybody wanted to know how we did it. And they wouldn't even believe that Scott Boulch was Scott Boulch. They thought I was Keith Baxter, and he was using a pseudonym because nobody that didn't know the industry could enter it one day and have 35,000 names 3 weeks later. They just didn't get it. Nobody had done that before. I launched my product on the day StomperNet launched, and my merchant account got shut down. I got more horror stories. After that $250,000, they said, too much, too fast. Don't sell anymore, and we're going to hold your money for 6 months. But had that not happened, I would have beat John Reese's $1 million day record. But we said, you know what? Everybody wants to know how we did it, so let's make software. We called it the list virus. And I released a free report called The Autopsy that went back and taught people how we did that successful campaign from 0 to 35,000 to $2 million. And we sold the list virus, but everyone and their mother at this point was copying us. There was the death of this and the death of that, and everybody was coming out with free reports trying to copy it. That's what they do in the IM. It's a weird market. So we said, you know what? We found out about a guy that was a big name in the industry, and he was about ready to launch a copycat piece of software. I'm like, you know what? We got a bunch of money. Let's just give it away. That'll screw them up. So we did. We made a version called the Viral Friend Dominator and gave 10,000 copies away. Who's got their own website? Okay, who's got their own website that doesn't have to do with their business, like yourname.com? Okay, I would suggest everybody get one for themselves if you don't have your own name or a version of it, because that will be your curriculum vitae and your life's work, and then it could be your legacy and your tombstone when you die. Go get your own name. It's cheap. How about if I gave you a copy of the software that helped me make $2 million? Everybody can have it, okay? If you don't have a website, when you go download this, it'll show you how to get a website for free to put it on. In fact, they'll pre-install it for you because software lives on your website, not on your desktop. So there's no tech worries. That'd be pretty cool. So go download it here, viralbranding.com/VF as in Frank, D as in David. Okay, now back to the bet. Oh, sorry. I'll have it at the end too. viralbranding.com/V as in Victor, F as in Frank, D as in David. Everybody got it? Okay, back to the bet. I bet JT that I get a standing ovation during my presentation. Where is he? Okay. I got to say I won, and you guys got some cool software. And JT's wondering what the heck just happened in here.
That is so wrong. I tell you what. You got all my shirt untucked, got me all nervous. I sprinted from one end of the hall to the other. All right? I've got police, Secret Service, insurance, hotel security.
He's like, what in the hell could be
going on? You are not
He
meeting Brett Michaels. You are not meeting Brett Michaels. Camera people, edit that part out. I do not want people to have the wrong idea about what happened. You're supposed to be great content, boring delivery. You're a left brain dude.
That's why I'm totally a filler, by the way. I know that. I love JT. He's the bravest guy in the room for letting me be on stage because he goes, you live in Dallas, you want to speak? And I'm like, sure, about what? And he goes, I don't know. I go, who's in the room? Oh, a little bit of everybody. Not a lot to go on. It was more like, what are you speaking on? And I asked him like yesterday. So, but I do know one thing, is in our mastermind, there's 25 top masterminds, marketers in the world. And I'm blessed to be in that mastermind. And man, he's smart.
I mean, he is like, that guy is just absolutely, he's able to do things that no one else is able to do. Not just the idea, but the programming. Here's how I put it this way. His brain works like Steve Jobs, like Woz, but the way his products are sold online have a Steve Jobs flair. And that's how powerful he is, and much respect. And in fact, some of our very high-end people that are here came because they knew you were going to be here, and that just goes to show the testament. Now everybody sit down.
All right, I got to hurry. I'll rush through this last part where we get to do one more fun thing at the end, especially if you're passionate about it like I am. These are our brands. I just want to show you this real quick. Viral Branding is our corporate kind of arching company that takes all of our software as a service, viral branding, marketing stuff under that umbrella. Then there's supply-side dating. It teaches guys in their middle ages, divorced, how to meet women correctly online. And it is the most fun product I've ever had because guys email me all the time and they go, I met the woman of my dreams. I'm sorry I have to cancel my monthly membership, which is good and bad. But that's the opposite reaction you get in a lot of other markets. They like when you help them, and they need help. So it works incredibly well. And then we do some stuff with real estate that we're actually a broker. We don't do retail on that, but we help people like Phil, for instance, with lead supply. So prior to being in internet marketing, I want to tell you how all this came together. I was an MLM. It's a dirty little secret, right? And like I shared with you, there's people in the room that have not admitted to you that they are big in MLM. When Tony Robbins talks about Mr. Rohn, before Jim Rohn was a personal development speaker, and before Tony Robbins was, they were in a company called Herbalife. And when Rohn talked about Schoen, his mentor, guess where he was? Again, a good place to start. But we took that and had a Miami Vice moment. Anybody know the story about how Miami Vice got started, if you're old enough to have watched that show? Brandon Tartikoff, some of that's cut off at the top, was having drinks and wrote a brainstorming idea on a napkin. MTV plus cops. At the time, MTV was brand new. What they did is they combined two things that existed into something that never existed before. That's what we did. We took MLM concepts and just put them online, where you don't need the people. No recruiting, no downline. We've got millions of people on the internet, but we employed that same theory of every person gets more people for us. That's viral branding. So my programmer and I started MLM both coincidentally in 1988, and we both have both sides of our brains that are a little messed up. In '99, we started playing around on the net. 2006 is when we did the viral marketing explosion. Then after a couple years, we thought, what would happen? We've already combined MLM and taken that online. What would happen if we went backwards? And we developed Sales Funnel Automator. And we automate people's MLM companies. We use internet marketing principles on the few companies out there that will let us help them because they're not internet friendly. We do that online for them. And we blow stuff up. We can get to the top of a comp plan overnight. And then in 2011, we thought, what if we took everything we've ever done and wrapped it in Facebook? And that was interesting. Facebook is your friend when it comes to viral marketing. Seriously, it doesn't get any easier. If you take a sales funnel, visitors coming in, order page, and a funnel in between, and you create enough curiosity at each step for them to move to the next, that's your only goal, and you put Facebook as that funnel, magic things happen. One sale never equals one sale, right? And one lead never equals one lead. When they land on what we do in viral marketing, the first thing they see is a little spokesmodel walk out and say, hey, thanks for showing up to see the presentation on short sales, whatever. Click the button below to start the presentation. And when they do, they've just opted into your email list. And like a guy told me at lunch yesterday, he goes, wait a minute, I didn't type anything in. Right. He goes, so I can't put my spam address in there. Right. You know how many people will click the button compared to fill out the form? Twice as many. Instead of 15 to 30% landing on your page and opting in, now you got 30 to 60% opting in. That would be more, right? Didn't your lead cost just get cut in half? Didn't your cost per sale get cut in half? Didn't you double the size of your list? Just this one component. No, not quite double. You know why? When you hit that button, 130 of your friends just saw you do it. So 2 or 3 come in behind you. And they go, hey, what's Bob checking out? I'll go check out that short sale presentation. Well, those 2 people have 130 friends who have 130 friends. And now you've got viral marketing. Once they get in there, This is one of our latest softwares, and everything in the middle here is us. Everything on the outside is Facebook. It's like having your presentation inside the New York Times. You can't beat the credibility this gives you. And everything around there causes viral activity. This little face pile down here in the bottom left, that's live with all the people that are in there watching this thing with you. And that's the guy, he's the president of Beachbody. We're working with them on automating their deal. Joe Bavino is a friend of mine that's in the P90X DVDs. Obviously, I haven't used them. But people can click on buttons and absolutely, intentionally, proactively share this with their friends to help you go viral. And you can ask them in your presentation. So it's active viral promotion. They're doing something because they like what they're hearing or seeing. You can also, and this is cool, do incentivized viral promotion. You bribe them. We give away that same piece of software you just got if they invite 3 friends that come back and watch the presentation. But our software knows not only that they invited their friends, but when their friends actually come back and click the button. So now you give them something of value in the middle of the presentation and bribe them to tell their friends to come watch. Hey, I'm going to get a free thing if you come watch this thing with me. And they do. Passive viral promotion, again, when they hit the button, their friends see it whether they like it or not. And our links track to infinity. So when they tell 2 friends, who tell 2 friends, who tell 2 friends, it all comes back to whoever has the product in there. It has all the influence principles without scarcity, which you can add. So here's the big takeaways. Number 1, 1 sale never equals 1 sale. If you keep that in mind when you do any viral marketing, you'll be on the right track. And number 2 is the $10 million idea. Every new lead and every new customer instantly becomes your salesperson, whether they want to or not. You don't ask them to go fill out a form and click an affiliate link. You just send them an email as an autoresponder that says, here's the email to send to your friends to tell them about it. Number 3, in viral marketing, the most important is reciprocation. Number 4, come up with a Miami Vice moment of your own. And one final demonstration, then we're done. 22 seconds over, so I'm doing good. In October last year, I lost my best friend to cancer. That's Addison. I made all this money, but that's it. I mean, money's money. I hadn't planted any trees, but here's what's cool. I went online, and 2 things happened because I was getting ready to rescue a new dog. I realized, as far as the internet's concerned, nothing has changed in the 10 years since I had my dog. It's like 1980 when it comes to animal rescue online. And so nothing had changed or improved, and I couldn't ignore this crime that's been haunting me for years now that finally I knew I could fix, that I could stop. And that is the crime. Here's what we can do in about 2 seconds. This is an example. The biggest puppy mill ever broke open was Kaufman County, not too far from here. 600 animals. I know a girl that was there that day. That's the heinous bitch that ran it. She is now in jail. And in 16 states, there's laws against this, so you can legally go get these people now. But there's no real animal cops, right? There's the show, which is no longer on. So what do we do? How do we stop them? I'll stop them in my lifetime because it's one of those things I've already seen. It's so simple. It's easy. And I'll show you how. Let's just do it right here. In 2012, I'm going to raise an army so viral, massive, passionate, and big that you will not be able to hide no matter where you are if you have a puppy mill. You want to know how easy that is? Well, we have viral marketing and a passionate crowd. This is PJ. And yes, that's an M16 and a puppy. And she's from Dallas. The 501c3 should be finished any time for this. PawArmy.org is the charity I started. And when I release this, it will be such a juggernaut because of the viral nature. We can't stop people from coming and asking, can we help, can we help, can we help with this? A pilot offered his airplane to go fly around and pick up dogs in other states that couldn't get rescued and take them back to no-kill shelters. And there's a whole network of those. One final example. Who knows who the Rich Jerk is? Kelly Felix. He's famous in internet marketing because of the Rich Jerk brand. And he came across like this really mean jerk guy, like, I'm rich and you're not, and you need to learn from me. Well, in real life, he's a nice guy, and he's also an animal lover. He posted this on his Facebook wall. Basically, he was in TemeculaPuppies.com, went up to the owner, told the owner what he thought of her because she sells puppies from puppy mills. And that's the way to stop them, is to stop the market. And she locked him in the store and called the cops. Now, he may be able to go after her for false imprisonment, but what he said back here was she picked the wrong day to mess with somebody who happens to be good at SEO. And within 24 hours, the entire internet marketing community was all over Temecula Puppies. One of the things Paul Army will do is create flash mobs for this kind of thing, so that if he was in the store, he could hit a button, and by geography, everybody that's registered would be able to come show up and shut down that store. So let's do viral marketing for a cause. If this isn't here yet, Todd is my business partner, Todd. I call him in the middle of the night and have him do stuff. He's just awesome. We've been working together 10 years. I don't know if that page is live yet, but it will be by tomorrow. And when you go there, you'll be able to click one button, and it'll post that on your wall, which basically says, hey, we just found out TemeculaPuppies.com is selling puppy mill puppies. Spread this around. Here's how you call and email the owner and tell them what you think. And if everybody in here does this and clicks that one button and makes that one small commitment, that one outlet for puppy mills is over. And that was your charity contribution for today. How cool is that? Two ties. Two.
Yeah, but you use me and the puppies, so.
I always pull out puppies. They're so pissed at me in the mastermind because I always pull out puppies.
Listen.
Last question. Who?
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I won't say who's on the next mega partnering, but I will tell you that the next mega partnering is in LA, Southern California.
All right.
And we will announce in about an hour who the guests are. And I'd like to invite you back to come speak, but also to talk about your charity, and we will focus your charity of choice for the next mega partnering as the money that we're going to be raising money for.
I'm in. That's awesome, dude. All right, one last thing, and I'm 4 minutes over.
I never want to piss you off. Like clearly.
No.
Like seriously, like I never want to. I could just imagine we're just flopping over here at mega partnering. Listen.
I don't know, seriously.
I'm not worthy.
I get to hang out with the smartest, brightest people in the world in our mastermind. I just love it, and I'm so fortunate, the connections I made. Everything just happens for a reason. I didn't know why I was here, and now I do. Seriously, I have no clue. I talk about that wherever I go, because that's the tree that I'm planting.
Well,
now,
I'm on board. I'm on board.
Who knows the sport that I like to participate in? Who can guess? Don't say sumo wrestling. Marathon. Yeah, 4:29:28, and
that's a great Photoshop job.
And I swear, I have this opportunity when I show this picture, Stedman, I'm sorry, but in my head, my goal was just beat Oprah's time. That was the only thing I had in my head. I was like, I gotta finish. Who knows how to win a marathon? Finish. Unless you're Kenyan, you finish. That's it. If you're 45 and you haven't made your millions, don't worry. It's just around the corner.
You're a pretty funny dude for a left brain dude.
I'm right brain too. Here's the free goods and prizes. So thanks, man. I really
appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Scott Boulch, everyone.